Welcome back, everyone, to another wild and exciting episode of the R&R Podcast. I am your host, Robert Joins, along with my co-host, Randy Watkins.
Howdy ho.
Okay, also replaced by Towley tonight, apparently. I mean, generic cartoon towel. We don't want to get sued.
You boys want to get high?
You know what? I'll pass, considering the tone of some of the news that we had this week in the sporting world. You know, I'll be honest. Originally, you and I were talking a couple days ago about I don't know what we're going to talk about on the show. Ain't nothing happened.
It was a slow sports week.
Until
quiet. Until the bomb got dropped in Louisville. So the organization's Infractions Appeals Committee upheld a ruling that vacated the Cardinals' accomplishments from the 2011 to 2012 season through the 2014-2015 season as well, including 2013 national title, a 2012 Final Four appearance, and 123 victories. Not only will trophies be returned, but banners will be taken down.
Yeah, man, that's a big deal. Now, we talked a little bit about this last week, and we should have a couple notes here. I think you and I were both of the feeling that they were going to come down hard on Louisville. My claim was it was a "what have you done for me lately" sort of an argument. They did win. They did win a national title in 2013, as it shows here. But before then, they hadn't won since 1986. So nowhere near the same what we would call championship pedigree as your Duke, Carolinas, UCLA's, those kinds of things.
Oh yeah, they're I would consider them up there, but yes, nowhere near the big four of Duke, Carolina, Kansas, and Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, if you won in 2013, but the last title you won was in 1986, that's a heck of a dry spell.
Yes. So now you're going to have to date it back to 86 every time, because you can claim that 13 championship all you want, but the record books have been struck.
Well, here's the deal. To the players who are on the team, they know they won a national championship. They don't have to return their rings. You know, it may not show up in the NCAA records, but they were there. They beat those teams. They won a title. It's like, does the fact that Reggie Bush, got some shoes and some money that he wasn't supposed to have meant that he didn't win the Heisman? Yeah, they technically took it away, but he was, more than deserving that year of a Heisman Trophy. You know what I mean?
Oh, he was the best player in college football, without a doubt. Most electrifying player coming out of college football as well.
And so Matt Leinart laid up some pretty big goose eggs in the pros. Now, I will say, Reggie Bush, didn't he win a Super Bowl with New Orleans?
Yes, I think so.
But he was like third string running back by that point.
Yeah, he was a gadget player that never worked out.
Yeah.
And he kind of bounced around from team to team and struggled in the NFL.
Yeah. So, but we see that in college players over and over again. It's funny. Tim Tebow was what, 2-time national champion? Didn't they win 2 national championships while he was a quarterback?
Yeah, we might have to fact check that, but yeah, I think at least one for sure.
I'm pretty sure he was on the squad. I mean, he may have been.
That's right. He may have been the backup. I know he was definitely the starter for the 1 year that they did win. And a hell of a college quarterback, total system guy.
Yeah.
Powerhouse. You could put him in.
Tebow won a state championship in high school and 2 national championships in college and a division championship in the NFL. Yeah, so 2 national championships in college. Oh, wow, listen to this. In 2007 college football season, Tebow threw for 29 touchdowns and rushed for 21 more, the most in SEC history at that time.
Mm-hmm.
He also won the Heisman that year. Now, Cam Newton technically won, too, because he was behind Tebow for one of those.
Tebow is huge. I mean, he was just a big boy. He would run up the middle and just couldn't be knocked down. He's 6'3". What was he, 250, 260? And had good legs underneath him. I don't want to bounce around too much, but how do you think he's going to do in baseball. Like they're talking about him
Who,
being
Tebow?
bumped up to the majors this year. Yeah,
Actually, that's a story that I'm glad you mentioned because I want to talk about the disparity here. So with Tebow, the owner of the Mets organization is positive he's going to make it to the main squad. He's going to make it to the big show. Getting on the roster in the first place definitely had to do with his name, but his drive, his commitment, his stats, he's a team player. He's there early. He leaves last. And he's hitting for power, man. So when he is hitting, he's hitting home runs, which is electrifying. I think if Tebow keeps doing what he's doing and he keeps moving up within the farm league system, he'll get an appearance in a major league game, like an honest to God major league game. I don't see any reason why not. But what's so funny is that opposite of him is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson was at NC State. He was a dual athlete. And ultimately that's the reason why he left NC State was because, Coach Tom Coughlin kept telling him like, listen, Russell, man, I can't have you go over there and get injured and ruin your throwing arm. If you need Tommy John surgery, you'll never be able to be a quarterback for us, period. Cause Russell was like toying with trying to be a pitcher here and there. Basically what it boiled down to is that Russell couldn't hit the major league curveball. He went and tried to do the baseball thing and it did not work, which is why he came back and used his last year of eligibility to play at Wisconsin.
It's funny you mention him because his rights were just picked up by the Yankees.
The Yankees,
recently.
yeah, and it's a big. That's what I want to talk about. It's a big PR thing. He had this super nerdy, lame Instagram story or whatever earlier this week. He was in New York with a Yankees ball cap, talking to like, "I'll see you in spring training," and yeah, Aaron Judge, man, we'll have a home run derby and all this crap. And it's like he's just going to show up, get a couple pictures, and leave. You know what I mean?
Right.
You are never going to see him in the pinstripes uniform on the field, but it's something he wanted. His dad's a big Yankees fan. Baseball was his dad's big thing. I understand that, but it's like his experience with like football and baseball is the exact opposite of Tebow. Like Tebow actually wants to play. Tebow actually has a chance to play. And unfortunately for Russell, Tebow can actually hit the major league curveball. But I don't think Russell Wilson's losing any sleep over it.
No, I think his position is cemented in the NFL, unlike Tim Tebow. But Tebow actually says that NFL pro teams are still calling him about coming back.
I don't doubt it.
Which is interesting.
Here's the deal, man. Tebow is a physical specimen, and he's a feel-good story. When he's on the field, people like him. They like what he stands for, how he carries himself. Players seem to really like him. I'm sure there are people who think he's phony, but most of the people who've been around him are like, no, he's pretty genuinely what he, puts forward. So
I also remember him having a lot of haters out there, though. I think a lot of it because he was, known for being a Christian and did not hide that. And I think a lot of people had struggled with that kind of image being displayed in sports.
Yeah, I think it makes them uncomfortable. So
I've always liked the guy. I agree with you. I thought he always had a feel-good story. My biggest memory of him, I think it was Broncos versus the Steelers, right, when he threw the walk-off touchdown when Peyton Manning was out to seal the playoff game for them. That was one of my best Tebow memories.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, here's some breaking news that I can actually share. Sean Miller spoke specifically of a payment on an FBI wiretap paying $100,000 to star freshman recruit DeAndre Ayton for the Arizona Wildcats.
Oh, so now the Wildcats get pulled into it too. Yep. It's funny because that you mentioned that because I just looked here at my phone and got a text. A really good friend of mine, Brian, if you're listening. I know Brian's a huge Wildcats fan.
Oh, no.
And he texted our group chat and said, well, there goes that. So
he thought he was protected. Yeah.
Yep. Just when you think your team is clear,
yeah,
you get wiretaps.
Yeah. Your star freshman. Yeah. The FBI pegs you, man.
Yeah. So,
I guess that feeds very naturally into our next story though.
Yeah, the excerpt from ESPN.com today, players from more than 20 Division I men's basketball programs have been identified as possibly breaking NCAA rules through violations that were uncovered by the FBI's investigation into corruption in the sport, according to documents also published by Yahoo Sports. The documents obtained by Yahoo detailed the work of former NBA agent Andy Miller and his agency ASM Sports. Yahoo reports that the documents, which include paperwork from 2015 to 2017, show cash advances as well as entertainment and travel expenses for college prospects and their families. Schools identified were Duke, North Carolina, Texas, Kentucky, Michigan State, USC, Kansas. Also mentioned were Alabama, Xavier, South Carolina, Louisville, Utah, Clemson, Wichita State, LSU, Maryland, and even Arizona now we have to add to the mix.
Your NCAA national champions, the Western Carolina University Catamounts. Because they're the only ones with players who aren't on scholarships.
My March is ruined. March is no longer madness. March is like
sadness. Yeah. It's March Sadness.
March Sadness this year.
That's your episode name.
March Sadness. Yes, and I was really excited for our primer that we're going to do on March Madness. It's one of my favorite times of the year. But holy cow. I mean, how many teams have we talked about this, a little bit, that the reports were surfacing, just a week ago that there were going to be a lot of top 25 schools, that were named, even Hall of Fame coaches involved, in these recruiting scandals. And here we go. Not even a week later, these reports are surfacing.
Yeah. Well, and I'm willing to admit, Randy, I was completely wrong. I thought that they would wait until after the tournament, but apparently the FBI had different plans, because that's one of the things. So let's look at a timeline. So the NCAA gets the FBI involved in all of this. I guess thinking that it would be a better way to investigate things. But then that just gives the FBI completely the opportunity to just come right forward and, poop right all over your big tournament coming up.
Yeah, I'm sure they have a firestorm out. I mean, I wonder if they wanted an unbiased opinion, or maybe they didn't have the resources and that's why they bought the FBI in.
Who knows? Maybe they didn't have a choice. If wire fraud and stuff's going on, that at a certain point, it's actually criminal, not just violations of your bylaws.
Yeah. Yeah, and that could take it to the next level. Cash advances. I saw a lot of figurative loans that were out there to a lot of these players. I even saw it wasn't Sean May's name. I saw an old Carolina player who played years ago on the report, and I was like, God, how far does this go back? I mean, you're talking about an agency that's been dealing between the NBA and NCAA for years.
Yeah. It's very true. It's very true. But, I would say that if you talk to most educated fans, this is something that we just assume is going on. And then when you talk about our team, we put our hands to our ears and go, ah, la, 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 la. You know what I mean?
It's, a coworker and I were talking about it at work today. And, you have a lot of these children, and call them children because that's exactly what they are. A lot of these children and these young men coming out of very depressed areas, and they have nothing to their name. And you have, bigwig Mr. Agent saying, hey, I'll give you 10 grand right now.
I'll buy your mom a house.
Exactly.
I'll get your dad a car. I'll pay for, your medical debt, or, whatever it is that's dragging them down.
Right. I know you're going through a tough time. Your family's going through a tough time. I want to help you take care of your family, because I know in return one day you're going to make it big, kid. You're going to be a first rounder. And I know you're going to take care of me. You're going to remember, the people that made you. That's been happening since the dawn of time. You're right. As long as sports have been happening, period, you have these agencies doing this.
Yeah. So, personally, I don't know what else to say on it. It's going to be interesting to keep watching. On a different note, I want to go over our picks from last week. We did our Who You Got of the NBA All-Star Game. Still talking about basketball here. And, LeBron's team won.
Yes.
But it was not a thumping. That was one heck of a game.
Yeah. It was very, very close game that was in there right until the end. Team Stephen, Team Curry, whatever you want to call them, pulled out to an early lead, and LeBron's team had a great second quarter, and then just really took it to the next level in the second half.
Yeah. Well, you know what I saw on the court? I saw a lot of guys who were really enjoying themselves. They seemed to really enjoy the competition and playing with each other. Like, that's what an all-star game is supposed to be. It needs to be extra. You know what I mean?
I think, I think, a lot of the stories that I read that the guys really had fun this year. It was funny hearing the Golden State Warriors talking about how they needed rest, and then, what was it, 4 of their stars were in this game.
Yeah.
So much for all that rest that they got because they played a lot of minutes. But I heard a lot of guys talking about this year was really fun. You know what I was disappointed in, and congrats to Team LeBron. You're great. You called that pick.
2 for 2 on picks on the show.
You are 2 for 2. We're gonna have to make a board.
No. Next time you just need to get to pick first.
I was really disappointed in the dunk contest and the lack of true names. Not to take away from the guys that did participate. But if you go back to the late 80s, Jordan and Dominique Wilkins going at it, Spud Webb going at it, the Admiral David Robinson, I think he was in a dunk contest, wasn't he? I'm pretty sure he was.
Yeah. But
big names.
LeBron's never been in a dunk contest.
I know.
And he puts on a show before games.
I know. So why doesn't he do it? I don't understand why he doesn't do it. I just don't understand. If you have that kind of talent, right, you're the top guy in the league, you're getting paid the big bucks, why not just do it? It's fun.
I guess, risk of injury, and it's not a good mechanic to get into. You can spend a lot of time perfecting a dunk that you will never use on the court. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of those guys, that may be true, but I think a lot of those guys improv their dunks as well. But I mean, just the names. I mean, Larry Nance Jr., we talked about him, being recently traded. You have Donovan Mitchell from the Jazz that won. I mean, an awesome talent, but, not really a named star.
Yeah.
I just would like to see some of the more well-known people being involved in the dunk contest, going forward.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, the last big name we had, you had Dwight Howard back in 2008. I didn't realize Nate Robinson has won it like 3 times.
Yeah.
Blake Griffin won it in 2011. And then after that, it pretty much just drops off, and then, no big names. You got Zach Levine winning 2 years in a row from Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I would just like to see big names. Oh, Blake Griffin dunking over that Kia that year for the big promotion. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But there's so many stars in the league, and I would just like to see some of those big names in the dunk contest. It should be the best of the best going at it. I don't think guys coming off the bench should be should be in the dunk contest. I just don't.
Yeah.
I think, you're talking about spotlight and prime time, put your best guys out there, let them go at it. Make it for charity. I mean, I don't know. Switch things up. But I think the format they went with this year, 2 captains and picking the teams and switching everything up, I think it really worked.
Oh, yeah. Well, and they drummed it up and hyped it up. And remember, the picks happened weeks ahead of time. The picks. That was an event in and of itself. They're going to continue this, and I've already seen reports about how successful it was for the league. And in a time where everybody's losing ratings, baseball's losing ratings, NFL's losing ratings, the NBA is somehow finding they're getting good ratings, especially, which I think is so funny, is that there's so much parity in the league right now. It's really just a question of, all right, when is Golden State and the Cavaliers, when are they going to, do it again, another championship run? I know Houston's a contender for that, and Boston maybe in the East, maybe Toronto, but it's really just a question of, all right, okay, finals, yeah, we got Cleveland and we've got Golden State. So
yeah, the Rockets have won 10 in a row. They're actually ahead of the Warriors right now, not by much.
I'll be honest, I'd love to see the Rockets go instead of the Warriors, especially with the Warriors are purpose built to win championships, and so if they can't make it to the finals,
that would be hilarious. The super team that never was trying to go for a back-to-back title. That reminds me, you're talking about the Rockets, and last week I mentioned that I thought someone got snubbed, but never mentioned who that was. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Know who you're talking about for the team?
Chris Paul.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Been to 9 All-Star games. Could have been his 10th, and he was snubbed, even though he has a league. I think he's a league leading or top 3. He is injured, but Kevin Love was named to the All-Star game too. Chris Paul had a league leading. I think he averaged 10 assists a game. That's a hard stat to toss out. I just thought there were some guards in there over him that made it that maybe he should have been in. How about the Raptors leading the East?
Yeah. It's a funny little anomaly, isn't it? I think this is going to sound unfair to the Raptors, but I think that is indicative of how weak the East is across the board, that you have a team like the Raptors that are statistically at the top.
They've got some great guards, though.
Yeah, well, so did Indiana a few years ago, but they couldn't get past Miami. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Toronto's been competitive now for a couple of years. It's nice to see some fresh blood at the top. Boston's doing a lot better than I thought they were. They're 41-19.
Yeah. Well, just as you're talking about the Raptors, they lost to the Bucks tonight. So, that's not a good loss. That's a bad loss.
Okay, so please tell me, before the All-Star game started, that you, at least by now, have heard Fergie's national anthem.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And we really shouldn't subject people to it. Just, it's bad. It's real bad. It's breathy. So it's bad. Throaty. It's all over the place. It's all out of key. God almighty, Randy, it's awful. Next to Roseanne, it's one of the worst renditions I've ever heard.
Oh yeah, I would put it up there. And she's a professional singer, for God's sakes, with how many Grammy awards that she's won? I mean, obviously there were with Black Eyed Peas.
Actually, that's a good question. I don't know how many they've actually. I don't know how many Black Eyed Peas has actually won.
I think it's 7 or 8. I mean, they've won quite a bit.
2. Well, she's won 2. Let's see here. Let me do Black Eyed Peas. Love the internet. All right, winner. 6. The Black Eyed Peas have won 6.
6. Okay, so you have a Grammy Award-winning artist. Which my other question is I don't think she's relevant. Is she relevant right now, or am I wrong?
No, I think you're right.
So they name her to the All-Star game, and then she pulls this. I mean, why do people feel that they have to put an artistic spin on the national anthem?
Yeah, well, it's because it's like, oh, it's been done before. So if it makes you feel any better, Randy, at least the Foo Fighters have 11 Grammys. So I was like, please tell me that there is some justice in this world. Because I can remember them getting snubbed for like, Album of the Year, Echo, Silence, Patience, and Grace. They were a nominee, but they didn't win. So, but they did win for a lot of other stuff. Anyways, I don't think of her as super relevant. And, I mean, I love will.i.am, but I don't think of him as super relevant right now.
They were early aught stars. I don't think of them as being relevant now.
Yeah.
But Dave Grohl, hell yes to great Dave Grohl for his, how many did you say, 11 Grammy nominations?
Yeah, 11 just as the Foo Fighters.
That guy's awesome.
Yeah, that's a good question. Let's see her. I wonder how many, if any, Nirvana got. Let's see here. Yep, they only won one for Best Alternative Music Album, but that was back when they hardly had any awards, you know?
Yeah.
So, let's see here. Yep, and Dave Grohl also won another one with Joshua Homme for Dem Crooked Vultures. They won in 2011 for that album. I'll be darned.
Well deserved.
Yeah, sorry, this is a sports podcast, though, not a worshiping Dave Grohl's taint podcast. So I do want to. You've got a great
hero.
You've got a great quote here by Fergie. I'm a risk taker artistically, but clearly this rendition didn't strike the intended tone. I love this country and honestly tried my best. Well, honey, your best wasn't good enough.
Bum, 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 bam.
I hate that phrase, by the way. The I tried my best.
Yeah. If you're an artist like that, you don't try. You go out there and you sing the national anthem. You sing your ass off. Like,
well, the other thing is like, if something didn't get done and it's like, it doesn't matter if that was your best. It wasn't enough.
Exactly. Back to my point, that she wasn't relevant. I thought there were plenty more current artists out there that they could have. And I understand it's difficult. I understand it's a very difficult song and a big spotlight to sing. But just listening to it was painful, dude. It was painful.
Yeah, that's why we're not listening to it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's a good idea.
I want to tell you, man, everybody wants to be Whitney Houston. That's what it is. Everybody wants to do something that's iconic with the anthem. But you're not going to one up it. That was the one. It was amazing. And I don't know if you'll have another one that's better.
I would agree with that. She killed it. I still love going back and watching some of the other anthem videos. But she killed it. You know, people were comparing Fergie to Aretha Franklin too, from that I think it was a wild card playoff game where she sang the anthem and it took like 4 minutes. And they put up during the game they actually put up a time of possession chart, and they put the Green Bay Packers and I think it was the Lions up there, or maybe it was the Vikings, Green Bay and the Vikings, and then the third bracket was Aretha Franklin in her 4 minutes.
That's too much, man. That's too much.
Just sing the damn song, people, please.
Yeah. You know, again, everybody wants to do something unique. So.
And I could appreciate that in the time period that we live in. If you're singing your song on the Grammys, on MTV Music Awards, sing your own song and put your artistic spin on it. But don't sing the national anthem with your artistic spin. Just sing it. You know, Jack Black did it once. Did you know that?
Yep, I've seen it. It's great.
Oh, he killed it. You know, if Jack Black can be serious and sing that song that well, why can't Fergie? Fergie's a really good singer. She really is. She has a great voice, but she really just flubbed this one.
Yeah. Interesting note about Jack Black. You know, a lot of people, their first exposure to him and singing was School of Rock. I'd say that's probably what most people were. But he had great roles in one of my favorite movies, High Fidelity, where he does a ton of singing and fantastic. And he also was Tenacious D.
Yeah.
Another Dave Grohl as their drummer.
Really? I did not know he joined them for some, like, how many albums did he join them for?
Who, Grohl?
Yeah.
He's been their drummer. If you go back to the their original track, the what's the the greatest tribute, their original song Tribute.
Yeah.
He's the drummer for that. He plays the devil in the music video.
Really?
Oh yeah. Here, I'll pull it up here. Yeah, you can just go look it up yourself.
I have some really good songs by Tenacious D. Some of them, the title is not appropriate for this podcast, but yeah, I'm sure you know the one I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
But they Tribute is a pretty good song too. So
yeah,
that's awesome. Dave Grohl facts tonight.
I'm chock-a-block with him, man. I love that guy.
Point with Dave Grohl. He's just awesome.
Yeah,
I love to watch him drum.
Oh my gosh. Well, and the whole story about him breaking his leg on stage, and then the very next gig, like he was back on a throne specially made for him with his cast, and he rocked out while sitting for hours. That's badass, man. It's a great story.
He is. He is definitely a badass and keeps going. And he would be more relevant than Fergie. Put Dave Grohl up there and let him sing it.
Yeah. And he's only, dude, as long as he takes care of himself, he's only 49 years old. We're going to get to have him for a while now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. He is definitely a legend already. All right. So, yeah, I guess enough Dave Grohl talk on our sports podcast. Oh, did you see Tiger Woods return to the Honda Classic yesterday?
Yeah, man. It's good to see him out there. The sport has needed him there. He didn't make the cut last weekend, but he's actually playing in tournaments. And he finished the day. He's only 4 strokes off the lead, which is awesome.
I saw that. He was under par actually earlier on today when I was following it through, I think, 15. He was 1 under, and I think he struggled on the last couple of holes. Yeah. But that's a really tough course.
Yeah, only 10 players are under par after 36 holes.
Yeah, and that speaks volumes about how difficult this course actually is. He said, I'm just learning how to play tournament golf again. And unfortunately, I've made some mistakes, and that's just part of it. As far as catch-up mode, no, I don't feel like I am. I know most of the guys have been playing tournament golf a lot more than I have. As I said, I'm looking forward to April, trying to get my game solid. So I know I've got some work to do. So I don't think he could have said it better. I mean, he's out there. I mean, I've been reading that, he's a lot more relaxed than he used to be. Now, this was a guy that was very focused when he was out there, laser-like focused.
To the point that nobody liked being around him.
Right. Fans have always loved him, but, he didn't really ever acknowledge the fans much. Now he's kind of taken it all in. So you wonder, he's thinking this as his second lease on life.
Yeah, I hope there's some positive for him. He's 42 years old now. And the fact of the matter is that, how much of a feel-good story is it? In America, we're definitely one to tear people down, but there's nothing better than the comeback story. It's kind of cyclical. So how great would it be? I think everybody's accepted he's not going to pass Nicklaus when it comes to majors. But if he came back and won another Masters, I mean, the story behind that would be amazing. And there's no reason why he couldn't. Ernie Els won a Masters at an older age. Phil Mickelson when did Phil win his last Masters?
It's been a while.
Yeah, Mickelson's 47 now. He's got 3 Masters titles. Yeah, so his last Masters was in 2010. So he's 47 now, minus 7 or 8 years. So pretty close to Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
And Jim Furyk is the one who just keeps winning. I mean, he's only won 1 major championship. That was 2003 U.S. Open. But Jim Furyk keeps winning tournaments, and he's getting up there in age.
Yep. He keeps on, he's going to get a juice or a soda named after him, like Arnold Palmer.
Let's see here. Jim Furyk is the same age as Phil Mickelson. Yeah, he's 47.
It's just that game that you can play until you're in your 70s and even 80s.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of golf. And I will say I don't think anyone has changed their sport like Tiger Woods did.
Well, the whole concept of quote unquote tiger proofing a golf course, they redesigned entire courses just to give him more of a challenge. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because he hits the ball so long. I was reading earlier today that he still only uses his drivers on a few holes.
Yeah.
The guy gets out there and hits his 3-wood, and hits his long irons, farther than some guys hit their drives. He still has that power. But that's why he had so many injuries too, because he had so much torque in his swing that his knees and his back just could not keep up.
Wow. It's interesting you should mention that. The longest recorded drive in PGA history was Tiger Woods. He blasted a 498-yard drive on the 18th hole at Kapalua during the 2002 Tournament of Champions. This still remains the longest drive in PGA history.
400 and how many yards?
498.
Oh my God. That's
obviously that had to be downhill. It is a downhill shot in a downwind situation. But Randy, on my best days, I could get like 330, 340. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's unusual. So for him to be able to blast 500 yards in a PGA tournament event. Now, there's those guys who've got like the giant legs and the giant arms, and they do the extreme distance drives. Those are never in tournament situations.
Down the airplane runway.
Yeah. Those guys like regularly break shafts and bust heads from the amount of force that they're able to put in them. That's just insane.
I remember that situation with Tiger, it happened like yesterday. And you're right. People, I think everyone in America wanted to bury him for the sleazeball that he was, but nothing strikes better in America than a redemption story.
Yeah.
This guy's on track, possibly could. He, like you said, he's only 4 shots off of the lead.
Yep.
He looks like he's going to make the cut for sure. But looks like he's going to play some Sunday ball, which he hasn't in a while.
Yeah, that'd be great for him. Well, I'll tell you what, if you've enjoyed listening to the show today, please check us out on Twitter at CriscoCast. You can also find us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, Crisco Industries. You and I, Randy, I need to give you access to that so you can help me post some stuff from this show there. If you like what you're listening to and want to check out our YouTube channel, please check us out at youtube.com/Crisco Brand Biscuits. And if you're a fan of the show and you feel like supporting the show, please check us out on patreon.com/Crisco Industries. Every little bit helps. We would appreciate it. Blah, blah, blah. Cents per day could help us grow the show, grow the channel, get better tech. But we do ask that even if you don't feel like or can't donate and support the show, just tell your friends. That's the best way you can do to support the show. That's the only way that we can grow and keep doing what we enjoy doing. So,
no doubt.
Yeah. Do you have anything that you wanted to add to that, Randy?
Tiger Woods, y'all.
So
I'm going to go play some Tiger Woods golf now.
Oh, man. I was all about that back in the day. Just bombing courses. Be like, you mean I didn't score 25 under in this round? Bah.
Press the A button as hard as you could to get the most spins out of the ball. Just
get that Tiger vision when you're on the green. Like, oh, man, I've only got 3 of these. I got to spin it right. This is a tough 38-yard putt for eagle.
Tiger vision. Ooh, is that a Perkins over there?
Yeah, no kidding. All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning into this week's episode of the R&R Sports Podcast. For Randy Watkins, I'm Robert Joins, and we will see y'all next week. Thanks for tuning in.